This video is sponsored by New York Institute of Technology. The future is ours. More information about NYIT later on in this video. Hi, I'm Andre and I'm a black nerd. And a question I get asked a lot is, what was I doing before YouTube? Specifically, what was I doing for work? What was my career path before making videos became a thing? Little open up the door, get a little inside of Andre here so you can learn a little bit more about me. I was a computer programmer. This is something I've mentioned a number of times, but I have a history of computers in my life, and therefore it led to that being my career until eventually I got into YouTube, which technically still involves computers. So ever since I was a kid, I was always fascinated with computers. One of my first consoles was the Texas Instrument TI-994A, which in addition to playing games, you could actually program basic programming language. So I used to write little computer programs. I had a book that would tell me different programs that I could write, made a little dancing man and everything. 20, go to 10, if then, all that was in there. And I had some computer stuff in elementary school, but it was like old school computers. The computers we got to touch back then were like black and green with big giant 5 1/4 floppies. But I would say middle school was when I really got my hands on computers the most, and when I really got that drive of wanting to have a future with computers. Because the school that I went to in middle school had a really cool computer lab, like a big lab. Your tax dollars at work, people. So it was awesome because every once in a while we would have like a 1 hour or so computer time as part of our curriculum. It might be in science class, you would go there and learn some science facts or take some science quizzes, but on the computer. If it was math class, you would play something like number munchers. If it was history, we would go there and we would play like the Oregon Trail or the Carmen Sandiego games. We had Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? We had Where in Time was Carmen Sandiego. You would play these games as part of your class. That was like the best day of school when your teacher was like, we're gonna have 1 hour in the computer lab, and we're like, yay! Some people were like, oh, whatever, but I was like, this is amazing. I want to do this all day. Our school also had a computer club, so it was like every week or every other week, once a week, we were able to go to the computer lab after school and then just free play. You wanted to play Oregon Trail, you wanted to play Word Munchers or Number Munchers or Super Munchers. I was a big Munchers fan. I loved all the Muncher games. I even remember there was one point they had this really cool device with Lego where you could build a Lego car and then you could connect it to your computer and you could write like a little direction program, and then the computer would then translate that information to the Lego car, like they were attached, and the car would actually move. Like you could type on the computer and it would make the car move like up, forward, or make it turn left or turn right. That was really cool. Like, it was some neat stuff, and that got me all fascinated with computers to the point where I was like, this is something I'm really into. Then add to that I was getting more and more involved in video games, having a Nintendo at home and a Super Nintendo. It was just even further getting me wrapped up in technology that I wanted to be a part of this, computers and video games and all that cool stuff. So in high school, I applied for this special program. It was a science and technology program where not only would you be able to take these really cool science courses and extra programming courses to learn computer programming, but there were also computers all in the rooms, and you even got to take home a laptop. And I know some of you are like, oh shoot, you took a MacBook Pro home? Nah, no, we're going back in the day a little bit here. Like this was an old school Mac. Like it was black and white, no internet. You just had a bunch of different random Apple programs. You could do some basic word processing, got a few games on there, but it was pretty much low key. It was basically there so we'd be able to write papers and stuff like that. But I used it a lot, man. I used to write fan fiction on it. They actually had the Wacom tablet, one of the early Wacom tablets, and I was able to draw, which is really cool because I used to draw my own comics when I was a kid. I used to buy like a pack of paper or old spiral notebooks, and I would draw comics in there. So a lot of times what I would do is I would take those drawings into the computer lab that we had in high school, and I would trace my drawings with the Wacom tablet. I would put the paper on the tablet, trace it with the pen, and then I would be able to have my drawings in a computer, and then was able to like color it and paint it in the computer, which I loved that. Very clear that there was always this creative side in me. This was a way that I could be creative as well as using technology. And there was this other program called HyperCard. It was basically like a souped up PowerPoint. You could make a bunch of slides, but you could also put programming in it to tell it what to do. So normally in PowerPoint, you just go next slide, next slide, next slide. This would be a thing where it'd be like, if you click this section, you can jump forward to this. If you have a number that you've been calculating throughout the course of the slides and it gets to a certain digit, you can go to this slide versus another digit, you can go to this slide. So that was really cool because you could basically create your own choose your own adventure type games within this program, and I used to do that. Like I even made a Power Rangers one time where I drew cartoon versions of the Power Rangers, and I drew like cartoon versions of some of the monsters monsters, and you could assign a number to specific spaces. So I would put a monster there, have a hidden number behind it that you didn't know that was randomly generated, and then you would have a certain power level, and you would use your power level to fight one of the monsters, and it would randomly generate a number, and then you'd have like a little animation sequence of them fighting. It was like a really like choppy, like it's here now, it's here now, it's here now, it's here. And I'm not fluid animation. I ain't talking Pixar or anything. And then you would find out if you would win or lose at the end by which number is higher. And now cut to years later, and I'm part of a Power Ranger RPG with Hyper RPG and Twitch, twitch.tv/Hyper RPG, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Power Rangers Hyperforce. Make sure you watch. I even remember like the local radio station came by one day and saw one of the programs that I made and then mentioned it the next morning on the radio. If you got mentioned on the radio back then, and you're especially in a small town, you were like famous that day. I was like, oh shoot, Andre, you got mentioned on the radio. And I'm just like, yeah, what's up? What's up? The radio, kids. I took classes in computer programming. I learned more about Pascal and C, which then led me to C++, and that's what got me into college. Learning all that stuff, I was able to get a full ride to college. That's when I really got more involved in learning about web programming, specifically HTML and the internet. Got a degree in computer science, took a bunch of classes in computers, of course, and part of the scholarship program was getting to do an internship. So I was able to work with a pretty big company, did a web development with them. I also did some programming, some basic programming with them. Not basic, the language, but like general level basic programming. C++ and HTML and JavaScript and ASP and PHP and all that kind of stuff. Some of y'all like looking at me right now like, what are you talking about? What is this foreign language that you are speaking, Andre? That was my life. And once I graduated, that was my job. I got a full-time job doing computer stuff. I had to travel to different states to work at different places. I did work for big businesses, for government, for nonprofit. Some of it was direct hire, some of it was freelance work, but it was a number of different jobs that I would take on over time. And it was really cool to do computer work out here in LA because a lot of times I was doing it for entertainment companies. So it was like that nice blend of technology and entertainment, two things I really liked. I even used to program menus for DVDs. So back when they were deciding if they were gonna do HD DVD or Blu-ray, I was actually programming menus for HD DVDs. So if you picked up an international copy of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire and you pull up that menu, you're welcome. Did you buy the HD DVD copy of The Departed? My little fancy work's in there somewhere. Good luck finding it since HD DVD is now dead. Then YouTube came around and I started doing YouTube videos, and that was the definite blend. I was using technology, I was using computers, I was using video equipment, but I was able to be creative and make the videos that I wanted to make. But even in my first years of YouTube, like I said, when I started YouTube, there was no partner program, there was no monetization. That didn't come till later. So I was still doing computer work on the side. They were going along side by side in order for me to continue to make YouTube, but also live and eat and have a roof over my head. And that's tough, particularly when you're doing freelance computer work, because the thing about freelance is you're hired project to project. So you don't have a continuous job. You can work on something for several months and then it ends, or you can work on something for just a few weeks and it ends, and you constantly having to find new work. So I was constantly trying to find new computer work while constantly trying to find new auditions to try to get more gigs for acting work, while constantly also making videos for YouTube to try to get that to grow. I'm not trying to brag, but the dues have been paid. So when you see me today being like, I'm sponsored by blah, 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 getting this money, that's why, because I remember the times. Remember the times when I was getting paid. I do remember the times when I had 5 jobs, girl. So deal with it. Speaking of sponsors, New York Institute of Technology, thank you for sponsoring this video. You're the perfect sponsor for a video of me talking about my history with computers pre-YouTube. NYIT is a university with locations in New York City, Long Island, and worldwide. You can study to become an animator, a digital artist, a designer. They have over 90 career-infused degree programs all about technology. NYIT alumni are in the top 25% of earners of college grads in the United States. Even the founders of Pixar got their start at New York Institute of Technology. You also get access to NYIT's Hive, a unique research studio environment where you can creatively explore, innovate, and solve problems using motion capture, gaming, 3D printing, and state-of-the-art graphics, hardware, and software. And 95% of their first-time, full-time students have some form of financial aid. That's pretty awesome. If you want to learn more about New York Institute of Technology or possibly apply, I have a link in the description, and next to that link, I will have a promo code. If you use that code, you will get your application fee waived, so you can can apply for free. Consider it a scholarship from me to you, the Black Nerd Application Waiving Scholarship Foundation. So now that I've told my history with computers, why don't you tell me yours? When was the first time that you remember really getting your hands on some computer technology? Whether it's a computer, a video game, whatever, a phone. Let me know when the first piece of technology hit your hands and what you did with it. Or if you have a job that's rooted in technology, or if maybe technology is a thing that you want to get into, let me know that as well. I want to see who my fellow tech heads are out there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. It's always nice to share personal stories with you. I hope that you enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please subscribe to this channel and also ring that bell to be notified of future videos that I make. Be part of that squad by the bell. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000. Chain chomp. Yo.